do the government follow all the rules which are written in your constitution regarding indigenous issues?
No, unfortunately, not at all. There's actually something that is happening right now on the West Coast as well with logging old forest trees. So trees that are actually older than the country Canada itself are being cut down by the Canadian government, not only ruining the ecosystems and the environment that are there, but also taking pieces of history, not only from Indigenous people, but also from the beginning of this country. There were trees that were almost 700 years old that were taken down. Those trees are as old as some of our ancestors. Those trees held a lot of knowledge and a lot of stories. So for the Canadian government to be clear-cutting old forests is just further proof that they want to erase Indigenous history and their connection to the land.
Something is going on in India here. The forests are cut down. Recently, the Buxwaha Forest of Madhya Pradesh state is in highlight. They are cutting about more than 2 lakh trees. The indigenous communities are extremely in danger and they are losing their home. And also not only the indigenous community, but also the animals, the birds. And this is a big damage to our biodiversity. And I think Indian government should think once again about it. The reason they are cutting the forest down is they found the diamond. They are going to set up the diamond mining there. Not only in Madhya Pradesh, but also in many states of India, this is going on. People are protesting against the government, but the protesters who are raising their voice, who are raising their indigenous voice, government is suppressing their voice down.
I was just going to say, I understand because that does happen a lot here. Unfortunately, mainstream media doesn't pick up stories that makes the government look bad, especially when it goes against the UN's rules of basic human rights and land sovereignty, especially for Indigenous people. I'd say if your team or if your community can start to share this news on your own social media platforms.
Sure.
Yeah, I have found that social media has been a very key tool to use when speaking about Indigenous issues, especially for us here in Canada. I find that when you're able to use social media in that way, so social media is a really great platform to use when you're trying to address issues, especially if you want people to see the violence and the eradication of what goes on behind what mainstream media covers.
How did the communities survive there after cutting down the forest?
A lot of communities in the West Coast are actually climbing into the trees and sleeping in the trees so that they cannot be cut down. This actually helps a lot with the logging, especially in the West Coast where a lot of the old forest trees are. People have been taking extreme measures to ensure that these trees are not being cut down any further. And the big company that is cutting these trees for the Trans Mountain Pipeline actually stopped funding the pipeline just 2 days ago. So hopefully we will see a shift in the respect for not only Indigenous peoples and their inherent rights to this land, but also to the land itself. Because there was no reason for those trees to be clear cut. It was just simply because they knew it would affect the ecosystem there and the biodiversity that the Indigenous people have been working to create in that area.